Okay, let's see here. Audio's recording and whoa, this light is bright. That, my friend, is the Aperture 120D, courtesy of Aperture, the A team. Guys, thank you so much. We'll be talking about this light in just a bit. But guys, welcome back to another Raw plus J Vong, a weekly Thursday gear talk podcast, or at least I try to do it every Thursday. I might actually change it to another day now, actually. But anyways, we'll talk about that kind of stuff in some other videos. For now, in this video, we're going to be talking about why I don't shoot with the CINE4 or S-Log profiles. Of course, going to be talking a little bit about the Aperture light and a couple of new monitors that I've picked up. So last week I published a hybrid shooting setup guide for the Sony a7III. By the way, if you guys watched the entire 45 minutes of that video, you guys are beasts, you guys are champs. I couldn't even handle it. I have to play the video 4 times the speed during the editing just to make sure that all of my B-roll and whatever I was saying kind of matches up. So in the comments and on my Instagram DM, I've been getting a lot of questions about why am I shooting in picture profile 1, the movie profile, as opposed to something like CINE4 or S-Log. So the short answer is a lot of the videos that I shoot requires a quick turnaround time, these YouTube videos especially. So if I shot in a flatter profile like CINE4 or S-Log, then that's just an extra piece of thing that I have to go through during editing before publishing my video. So that's the short answer. Here comes the long answer. So I actually dance between 2 different picture profiles. I shoot in picture profile 1, the movie default profile, and of course EOS HD Pro Color. So for those of you who are not familiar with EOS HD Pro Color, it's this guide that's put together by Andrew Reed, who is the owner of EOSHD.com. And in this guide, he shows you how to set up your Sony a7III's picture profile to have very similar colors to that of Canon cameras. So if you switch from a Canon camera and you miss the Canon color science, then this is something that you might want to look into. For the most part, this picture profile works great for me. Right now, what you're seeing, I'm shooting with that picture profile. And for anything outdoors where there's a lot of light coming in, or even indoors where there's a lot of light, this picture profile works really well for me. But when things starts to get dark, when I'm in a low light situation, it stopped working well for me. I noticed the skin tones on my footage starts looking a lot redder and pinker. When I was shooting my first wedding with the Sony a7RIII, that's something that I had to deal with. I had to color correct every single one of my clips to make sure the skin tones are not as red and not as pink. So ever since that wedding, anytime that we start shooting in a low light situation, I switch back to picture profile 1 because I feel like that looks pretty good in low light. But for the most part, again, in a well lit situation, the EOS HD Pro Color profile works extremely well for me. And another reason why I decided to feature picture profile 1, the default movie profile, is because I understand not a lot of people want to spend the $40 to buy this guide, or maybe they don't really care about the Canon color science in their cameras. It probably doesn't even matter to them. So I feel like it's just easier for everybody. It's a default picture profile that everyone already has. That's pretty much universal across the Sony camera system. Any Sony cameras that have that picture profile 1. And to me, it looks good straight out of the camera. Obviously, there's a little finessing that I would have to do in that picture profile, mainly the highlights, but for the most part, it looks really good. So for anybody who doesn't want to deal with color grading in editing, picture profile 1, in my opinion, is probably one of the best to shoot with to get the best colors straight out of the camera. And another little workflow thing that I like to do is I like to send videos that I've shot on my Sony camera to my phone. Let's say I'm shooting for Instagram stories. I would shoot vertically with the Sony camera, then send that footage directly to my phone and upload to Instagram story. Now, if I were to shoot in a flatter picture profile, then I would have to go through an extra step on my phone to color grade it or add a LUT over it, which is sort of impossible for me right now. I know that there are apps out there that allows you to put a LUT over your footage. I think LumaFusion allows you to do that, but it's 20 bucks. So if you guys know of a free app that allows you to put a LUT over your footage on your iPhone or your Android phone, leave in the comments down below. But yeah, just by shooting in picture profile 1 or EOS HD Pro Color, just saves me that extra step of having to color grade my footage on the phone. And of course, we are hybrid shooting. We're shooting both photos and videos at the same time. So when you switch to photo mode on your camera, unfortunately, it retains the picture profile you're in. So whatever photos you shoot ends up being CINE4 or S-Log JPEGs. So you would still have to go through the process of color grading it in either Snapseed or Lightroom Mobile. Of course, it doesn't affect the raw files. The raw files you would still have to kind of finesse with it in an editing software. But of course, the point of JPEG is to have those colors already baked into the photos. So again, like I said, if I need to quickly churn out photos and videos, this just saves me an extra step of having to color grade the photo and the video. So does this mean I don't shoot in CINE4 or S-Log profiles at all? That's definitely not the case. If there is a production that calls for it, let's say commercial or documentaries, then of course I want to maximize the dynamic range out of my camera. I would shoot in either CINE4 or S-Log. Most likely CINE4 just because it allows me to use ISOs that are lower than 800. But if I'm in a more controlled environment or if I have ND filters, then of course I would shoot in S-Log 2. I don't dabble too much with S-Log 3, but I do shoot in S-Log 2. I'm familiar with shooting with S-Log 2. All right, we gotta talk about the Aperture 120D for a little bit. Now, I've only been using it for my YouTube videos. This thing is crazy bright. I love the fact that it can illuminate my entire room. It just helps me shoot. It just helps me to be able to shoot my YouTube videos whenever I want. It just helps me keep a very consistent lighting. I can shoot during the day, I can shoot during the night. That way I don't have to worry about having to incorporate natural lighting into my shot. This just helps me shoot YouTube videos whenever I want. So it has been incredibly helpful with this light. So prior to this, I was using the Came TV Bolton light. Still fantastic lights. Everything that I said about it in the past still applies to those lights. Unfortunately, I didn't have a great customer service experience from them. I'm just gonna chalk it up as a misunderstanding, miscommunications on both our parts. But long story short, I bought these Wi-Fi dongles from them. I didn't felt like they were very reliable, and the things that they were asking just for me to return and receive my refund for those Wi-Fi dongles was ridiculous. So I wasn't very happy about that. It took a month and a half before they finally agreed to refund my money. Those Wi-Fi dongles were $50. Was it a $50 a pop or $100 a pop? It was $50 a pop. So I just felt like, you know, they weren't very reliable. So that's why I wanted to return them. But it was just a lot of hoops I had to get through that I wasn't very happy about. On the other hand, I feel like Aperture has the better customer service support. Now, I never had to return anything or deal with a customer service rep, but based on their social media presence, they really care about the indie filmmaking community and the YouTube community. If you visit them on their Facebook and on their YouTube, you're going to see that they have sponsored music video shoots, commercial shoots, short film shoots. They even create guides on how to be better filmmakers in general, not necessarily on using their lights, but just filmmaking tips that are beneficial to anybody out there. So that is why I feel like Aperture really cares about their customers and their community. I will have an update video on the Aperture 120D after I take it out for a spin. Can't wait to use it at a wedding, but for now, as a YouTube light, it's fantastic. So check out this new monitor that got sent to me. This is the Feelworld F6 5.7-inch 4K HDMI on-camera monitor. Kind of looks very similar to some other certain monitor out there. I wonder what it is. Oh yeah, it's the small HD focus monitor. So here are these monitors side by side. If I can get the camera to focus. Cool. So this is a 5-inch display. This one is a 5.7-inch display. So this one is slightly bigger. This one is a 1080p display. This one is a 720p display. Both of these have the articulating arms here that I really love. This one, of course, works a lot better than this one in terms of the fluidity of the arm. This one is, well, I guess it's, oh, you see that? So it's okay sometimes, but then it kind of loosens up on you. So this one is obviously a lot more fluid than this one. This one, you kind of have to deal with this limpness right here. But you get what you paid for. It's 180 bucks. The display is honestly not that bad, and this articulating arm is a lot more helpful than you think. It just kind of helps you angle the display. It does have a Koshu mount right here, very similar to that of the Small HD, which allows you to attach a lav mic, receiver, or a shotgun mic here. I'm honestly actually very impressed with the image quality that comes out of this monitor. It's 1080p, it's very sharp. You have things like false color, histogram, and peaking. And what else is there? Anamorphic D-squeeze, it gives you the crop mark as well. And the thing about, the other thing to complain about this monitor is the UI looks a little janky. The UI on the Small HD is obviously a lot better. And when you rotate the screen on the Small HD, the display automatically flips. Whereas this one, when you flip it, you have to set one of your buttons here on the top, or in my case, the bottom now, to rotate the screen manually. So that's just some minor quirks about this monitor, but for the most part, for $180, it's not bad. I think this would be perfect for the a7III and of course the Sony a6500. Caleb from DSLR Video Shooters just published a full-blown review on this monitor. You guys should totally go check it out. I will have a user experience review of this monitor along with the Small HD in the next couple of weeks or so. But for the most part, I've used it for a couple of my YouTube shoots. And I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention, it does have a DC out right here, so you can actually plug a dummy battery into your camera and this thing will power your camera. So that's pretty awesome. Currently, it's only available for the Sony NP50W batteries, the small little batteries. They don't have one for the a7III or the a7R III yet, for the bigger, chunkier batteries. But I think they're gonna come out with one. But yeah, pretty neat little monitor. I'll have a link in the description box below for it. And for this weekend, I am very excited to do some photography with the Sony a7III. I've been shooting a lot of videos with it. I haven't got a chance to actually use it as a photography camera. So this weekend out in Orange County, I'll be shooting with a Sony a7III with my good friend Robert Swap and a bunch of photographers. So very excited for that. I'll update you guys. I might have a vlog on it, but I'll update you guys on that. Stay tuned to the Instagram story for the behind the scenes, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.